James Lynch here from MiddleEasy. Happy to be joined by Curtis Blaydes, who's going to be headlining UFC London July 23rd against Tom Aspinall. Curtis, how are you, man?
I'm good, man. How are you?
Doing great. You were just in Texas last week. What were you doing out there?
I was out there training some Ogie with the E team down there with Icky Rodriguez and his guys. Just getting some extra work in.
That's good. I imagine you had some barbecue down there. You had to, right?
Yeah, we had a little bit of brisket. We were only there for a few days, and it was all focused on the trainings. We didn't get to explore much or really eat that much. We did a lot of Uber eating because after the workouts, we were just tired as hell.
Yeah, no, don't blame me there. How quickly did this fight with Aspinall come together? Because I know we spoke like maybe a month ago. I know you were kind of looking at the next matchup. When did this all come together with you signing pen to paper with Aspinall?
I think it was about a month ago. It might have been a few days after we spoke. It actually wasn't that hard. Options are limited, so we knew once they announced the Ciryl versus Tuivasa, we knew it was Aspinall.
Yeah, process of elimination. Are you a little bit disappointed though? I know you did want to fight Ciryl Gane, and maybe that fight will come down the line. But just your thoughts on getting Aspinall instead of Gane.
Top five guys, a top five guy. Doesn't really matter. Just gotta get the W.
Yeah, no, absolutely, man. Speaking of Gane, he's going to be taking on Tai Tuivasa. How do you think that fight plays out? Because that's an interesting matchup for Tuivasa going from Derek Lewis to Ciryl Gane.
No idea. I mean, most likely you would think Ciryl Gane's gonna do his touch for 5 rounds and maybe find the TKO, but you never know with Tuivasa. He might be able to sprint him down and just catch him. So it's heavyweight. I wouldn't, if I was a head man, I wouldn't put anything on that fight because you don't know.
Who would you give the edge to though, just right now? Would you think Gane because he's more technical, or do you think Tuivasa?
Yeah, you always go with the more technical guy. Just like with me versus Derek Lewis. Like I should have won, but you never know.
Yeah, no, I hear what you're saying there. Now, correct me if I'm wrong. Is this the first time you've gone to London? I can't remember if you've been there before or not.
Yeah, this is my first time. Yeah.
Are you excited about that? I mean, it's kind of cool, like to do a bit of traveling for your career, right?
Yeah, that's one of the things I miss about the UFC before the pandemic hit was all the traveling. It's been a while since I've been out of the country, so that'll be nice. I did look up the food they have in England, and the reviews weren't great, so I'm not really looking forward to that part. But I like the history. I think after the fight, I'm gonna hang out for like another eight days, just to really explore it. Yeah,
that's cool. You fought Mark Hunt in Australia. I know Hunt's from New Zealand, so not quite the same thing. But are you excited to be able to spoil the party? I mean, Aspinall's going to have all the fans on his side. It's kind of like a hometown fight for him.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. People always ask like, "Oh, are you nervous about fighting in someone else's home country?" I'm like, no. It's a fight. The fans have zero impact on a fight. Honestly, I think it adds more pressure. Like when I fought Alistair in Chicago, everyone's just like, you have to win. You're in Chicago. There's no way you can lose. I'm like, yeah, actually, there is a way you can lose at home. Happened to Mark Hunt, and hoping it happens to Aspinall this time.
Speaking of Aspinall, obviously great record, 12-2 overall, coming off a big win in his last fight. How do you feel like you match up against him in this fight?
Look, I'm match up very well. He's a pretty good boxer. I believe I'm a really good boxer. He's got a little bit of grappling. I think I'm a better grappler, so I think it's pretty even. He's probably the most well-rounded heavyweight besides Stipe and myself.
Okay.
And yeah.
Okay.
I think it's gonna be a good matchup. hard to tell, you know.
No, for sure. And kind of facing another up and comer, kind of like the Dawkins fight, right? Which is interesting. Now, you guys have a common opponent in Alexander Volkov. I know you went the distance with him. Aspinall finished Volkov. Do you think that speaks more to Volkov's decline, or do you think that Aspinall really is that good and he was able to take him out?
No, I think Aspinall's legit. I think he went out there with a game plan. He had a directive. It looked like he knew he wanted to get Volkov on the ground. He knew that his arms would be there for a submission. It looked like he wasn't surprised by the outcome. So I don't think Volkov's like. I think Volkov's he's legit also. That's why I'm happy about this matchup. Tom Aspinall's legit. I like to beat guys who are legit because beating guys like when I just beat August, he doesn't really have the resume to really brag about it. You beat Aspinall, he's got a better resume. It's more brag-worthy.
Okay. Yeah, that's a fair assessment. What about training camp? Anything different? Usual cast of characters, who they're mainly working with? I know one of your training partners in your last camp was on the Ultimate Fighter, so I'm assuming you get to work with him this time, so that's a benefit.
Yeah, he's going to be back, so that's the only difference, and that's really the biggest difference is having him back. Like he's my main sparring partner. He's one of the few guys in the world who can push me on a consistent basis in all areas, wrestling, jiu-jitsu, and striking. So that's really the only difference. Besides that, it'll be the normal guys.
Yeah. Are you bringing anyone in, or is it just mainly usual cast of characters?
No, I mean, I've been bringing in some heavyweight boxers over the last year, but I mean, they're a few of the local heavyweights. So you probably never heard of them. But besides those guys, it's just the guys I've been working with over the last 4 or 5 years. And a lot of difference.
And not heavyweight, but light heavyweight. I know Devin Clark's been working with you guys a bit. How much of an asset has that been? I think he's back home right now, but I know he worked with you guys leading into his last fight. He looked great.
Yeah, it just helps always having another body. The more fresh big guys I can have in my rounds, the harder it is for me to win rounds. So it's just something else to push me.
And as far as your corner, that's going to be the same too, I imagine. Cody Donovan, the usual sort of cast of characters.
Yeah.
Okay.
I really don't like switching up things. I like to, if I can.
If you're winning, you might as well keep it the same, right?
Thing.
So.
Exactly.
Yeah. So how's this fight playing out on July 23rd? Because the one interesting thing about this fight is I'd say, you're probably the best wrestler that Aspinall's ever fought, at least in the UFC. How do you envision the fight playing out?
I mean, I don't know. It always depends on my opponent if they're going to be aggressive or not. If he's backing up, then I'll take the space, force him to put his heels on the cage and take him down. If he's being aggressive, I'll use my striking to slow him down and take him down eventually. Game plan is always the same. It may or may not work, but game plan is always the same.
We just had a really big card over the weekend, UFC 274. I know you had a few teammates on that one. I wanted to start with the main event. Charles Oliveira submitting your teammate, Justin Gathje. I know Justin was very much game, and he certainly came out really strong. What did you think of Charles' performance in that fight?
It was amazing. Like, he was able to weather the storm with Gaethje. He got knocked down twice, and because of his amazing jiu-jitsu, he was able to take the knockdowns and just hang out on his back, catch his bearings, and get right back in the fight. I think that was the biggest thing. A lot of other guys, when they get knocked down by Gaethje, that's usually like a precursor to the end. But for him, you don't want to be on the ground with him, so he gets to recover. And then, when he gets on anyone's back, Poirier, anybody in that division, he's the best jiu-jitsu player I think I've ever seen in that division. So I wasn't really surprised he was able to get the finish once they got on the ground. It's just disappointing, but H should be back. He's always hanging around the top contender spots, so he'll be back.
And then the co-main event, obviously rough outing there for both fighters, actually. Carla Esparza winning the title over Namajunas. What did you make of that fight? It was a bit of a weird one.
I have no idea. That was very weird. I don't know. I don't know why, because I picked up early in the first round, like Rose made Carla look like a Smurf in there. Like Rose had the reach advantage. She could have been touching her a little more with the lead hand and maybe adding some more calf kicks, something. That was the weirdest fight. It was very reminiscent of Francis Ngannou versus Derek Lewis, where both of the fighters just respect each other so much, it didn't want to engage, which is weird. Like, you have to fight. I don't know. That's a weird one.
No, it was.
I have no idea.
And sort of last notable thing on that card, Michael Chandler knocking out Tony Ferguson with a front kick just out of nowhere. And you know, Tony's a tough guy to put away. You know, Gaethje, it took him till round 5 to put him out. What did you make of that knockout by Michael Chandler?
That was a highlight. That's going to be replayed for the next 15 years. That was unexpected. I never seen him throw one up the middle. I think that's why it worked. I don't think anyone was expecting a high kick up the middle, and it was perfectly placed right there on the button. But I'm not shocked that he was able to find the finish. I figured he would. I didn't think it would be like that, but Ferguson's in a lot of scraps, a lot of tough fights, and I don't think physically he is who he was 2 years ago. Ever since the Gaethje fight, I don't think he's been the same. He took a lot of unnecessary damage in that one, and I hate to tell other people they should retire, but I don't think he's ever gonna sniff the belt again in that division. It's just too tough of a division. He can still beat guys because he looked really good early on. He looked like the old Tony. I just don't think he has I don't think he can take the damage anymore like he used to. That was one of his skill sets. He's able to take the damage and give it back to you twice fold. I don't think he can fight like that anymore. And he has a lot of holes in his defense that I think he's too old to really fix right now. So I don't know. I don't see him being a top 5 guy anymore, but he can still hang around if he wants to earn money. I think he can still beat guys 8 and above. He can still beat those guys.
And then we have another heavyweight fight coming up. 2 guys you fought in a couple of weeks. We've got Alexander Volkov and Rozenstruik. Who do you see winning that heavyweight fight?
Volkov. I think he's the more technical, but Jairzinho's got the power, so it's the classic power versus technique. Like I said, I always pick the technical guy over the powerful guy, but Rozenstruik's always got a so, I'm going to go with Volkov in that fight.
Obviously, big fight here. You already took out one prospect in Dawkins. You're now facing another one in Aspinall. If you get the win here, is a title shot next? I would have to think you got to be there just with the fact you've taken out 2 of the best prospects in the division, potentially.
I would be honest, probably not. Even if I'll come out with a flying elbow or whatever, I will most likely end up getting the winner of Tuivasa and Ciryl Gane. That's just how it is. So yeah.
Okay. And it looks like they're doing, I mean, it hasn't been officially confirmed yet, but it looks like they're going to do John and Stipe. I'm assuming that's an interim fight, and it was supposed to be July, I think, and then they moved it to September. I think Stipe needed more time. What do you make of that? Is that the fight to make? I mean, that is a pretty big fight if they do put it together, in the absence of Francis Ngannou.
I think it happens. I think that fight happens, and then, like I said, the winner of me versus Aspinall is going to get the winner of Ciryl, Gane, and Tuivasa, and then the winner of Sean and Stipe gets to hang out because obviously they have the belt, the interim belt. They get to wait, and then ABO will be up to them who they want to fight next. I don't know for sure about that one, but I do believe that fight's going to happen. I do.
What did you make of Francis Ngannou being at Tyson Fury's fight and them trying to make this thing happen? Because that was pretty crazy. I didn't expect to see that, him on television like that.
I thought it was dope. I really hope he gets the fight, man. He deserves the bag, and I know if he goes into boxing, he'll get the money. And just happy to see guys, like expand outside of MMA and find other avenues of income.
What did you make, though? I mean, I got to bring this up just because he said it. I thought it was a little interesting. Dana White said, quote, that fight is definitely not a lock, and calls the matchup a waste of time, energy, and money. What did you think of that? Because obviously people do kind of want to see it, right? Because it's UFC, a UFC champion against a boxing champion.
People want to see it, and I think Dana, he's doing what he's supposed to do. He doesn't want to lose one of his biggest athletes to boxing, so he has to discourage it. He's doing what a promoter is supposed to be doing. So yeah. I'm not angry about that. He's got a job to do, and he's doing it. So.
Well, with that in mind, do you think the UFC should be a little bit more lenient about, fighters wanting to go take boxing fights? Do you think that should be something that they should allow the fighters to do as long as it's, not preventing them from competing in the UFC?
Yeah, I didn't think it was an issue because they allowed McGregor to do it. So I thought Dana would be happy about this. Like he was happy about McGregor doing it because it makes Ngannou a bigger name, which makes the UFC a bigger name. So I thought it all helps. It helps everybody wins, everyone eats. So I thought this would become like a thing because I hear Usman, he wants to box with Canelo, which I think that would be amazing to watch also. I'm here for it. I like to see guys pushing the boundaries.
And then just sort of last thing on Dana White, he said that, boxers are overpaid. What's sort of your stance on that? Because obviously the boxing model is different, right? They have obviously the boxer is the commodity, then they sort of build a card around it as opposed to the UFC, which is like an actual league. What is sort of your take on Dana saying the boxers are overpaid?
I don't think they're overpaid. I think the market is what sets your pay. So obviously boxers have been earning this type of income since the 90s or maybe even further beyond that. My boxing history isn't that good, but I believe people want to see these guys fight. That's why they earn so much. Like if the boxing promotions weren't earning profits off these guys, it wouldn't be earning the money they are. So I don't believe they're overpaid, because if boxers are overpaid, then that means LeBron's overpaid and Odell Beckham's overpaid, Aaron Rodgers is overpaid. Yeah. Like the market sets the pay. So people want to see these athletes perform. You pay them. I think it's great. It's great for the sport.
What are your thoughts on the Chicago Bears? What do they need to do in the offseason? I know the season's not for a bit, but I'm sure you're keeping tabs on what's happening in the offseason.
The Bears have a lot to do. We need to address the O-line. We don't have the money right now. We don't have the cap space. We just hired a new head coach and a new general manager. I never heard of either one of these guys, but that doesn't mean anything. But I wish we could have brought in like a more established head coach, one that I could really, really believe in. But yeah, we got issues. We just gave up Khalil Mack. We don't have him no more. It's going to be rough again. It's going to be another rough year as a Bears fan. I'm prepared for it, though. I'm mentally prepared.
I'll tell you, it won't be rough. Well, it could be rough. Coming up here July 23rd, UFC London, man. I can't wait. Curtis, again, congrats on getting this fight, man. You're like the main event guy these days, getting all these really cool matchups. Just remind people where they can get a hold of you on social media. If you got any sponsors or shout outs or anything like that, man, I'll give you the last word.
You can find me at RazorBlades265. That's on Twitter and Instagram. Please do not add me on Facebook. I don't want to add any more friends on there. Instagram and Twitter only, please.